streaming live in our Facebook page. Hello, hello, hello. Alzheimer's and Dementia Support Group. I am streaming live now, I believe, in our Facebook page. We have our Tuesday Dementia training for today. We have a special guest. Her name is Lizette Cloete.
Cloete.
How do you say that, Lizette?
Cloete. Let me give you a clue.
Cloete. Is that a French or?
Well, we're South African, but it is a French derivative. Yes.
Well, there you go. See, I kind of correct there. So we have a special guest, Lizette Cloete. She's actually an occupational therapist based in South Carolina, and she has her own business called Innovative Therapy Services, and we're just here to ask her some questions. So if you are watching live in our Alzheimer's and Dementia Support Group, please comment live. I'm gonna tune into our Facebook group there for a minute, Lizette. So just give me a quick second there. Yep, we are actually live there. So yes, we have like, I think 13 people who are watching. I'm just going to put it up there. So if you are watching live, please comment live, ladies and gentlemen. If you are watching on the replay, please comment replay. So again, we have a special guest. I'll just call her Lizette. I'm going to stop that screen share. So hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Lizette. Thank you very much for coming over. I've been online the whole day, recording and doing some stuff. Tomorrow, I'll be teaching at the Alzheimer's Association too. So later, we're going to talk about that too. But I just want to introduce you, ladies and gentlemen, to Lizette. She is going to be one of our coaches and moderators here. Ask her some questions. She's actually part of this awesome group that we have right now. So again, Lizette, please tell us who you are, what do you do, where you're from, and please help us here in this group how we can bring out the best in other people here. So
I would love to. I'm originally from South Africa. I have been an occupational therapist for 27 years.
27 years, oh gosh.
Yeah, I'm old enough to remember when things were very different. A lot of the newer students coming out or newer therapists coming out, I'm older than they are. So I've been a therapist as long as they've been alive. So it's kind of fun. My husband and I are originally from South Africa. I actually am a foreign trained therapist. I did my training in South Africa, and I specialize in dementia and cognition.
Excellent. So what brought you here in the States? I'm also a foreign trained therapist. So.
Well, my usual joke answer is an airplane, but no, in the early 1990s, there was a significant shortage of therapists in the United States, and they were recruiting very actively in all English-speaking countries like the Philippines, South Africa, Australia, the UK. And so we came over, and then we ended up staying. And so we've been here. Our children were born in Missouri, and yeah, we live in South Carolina. My parents are now in South Carolina too, and my sister lives up in New Hampshire.
Oh wow. Well, welcome to welcome. I mean, you came here first. So, well, anyway, I know we have a very big group of 30,000 members in this Alzheimer's and Dementia Support Group. So we're not just here in the States, we're all over. And even in the actual group, I see some Filipinos posting there. So if you're watching, if you're from the Philippines, welcome to the group. If you're in South Africa, South America, Middle East or whatever, welcome to the group. So everybody's welcome. And just remember, dementia is non-discriminatory. It affects every single country nowadays. So what can we learn from you today, Miss Lizette? What can we learn from you today?
Oh, that's such a broad question. Probably one of the biggest things that I'm starting to do more of is actually, you have your mild cognitive impairment, people who are just starting changes that's not dementia, but might be dementia in the future. And then you have your people who have got a diagnosis of dementia. Well, at the beginning stages, there's actually a lot of therapy, a lot of cognitive therapy that can be done to help maintain and keep your thinking processes as best as possible for as long as possible. So I'm starting to get a lot more involved in doing some evaluating of people, and then as well as treating of the cognitive components for memory and things that will make people be more independent at home with things like taking their medication and bill paying and things like that.
Amazing, amazing. Well, you mentioned about MCI or mild cognitive impairment. So for those people who are watching, well, let me just give a special shout out for those people who are commenting. Lisa, thank you. Anna and Lisa from Anna from Houston, Lisa from Connecticut. Connecticut is that how you pronounce it? But Lizette mentioned about MCI or mild cognitive impairment. It's very, very important that you identify dementia or Alzheimer's as early as possible, because that's where it all starts. You know, they did a study for those people who have mild cognitive impairment. They eventually transition to a full-blown Alzheimer's disease. So it's very, very important that as early as now you plan, you know, like what we always say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So making sure if you have, you know, if you recognize a mild cognitive impairment as early as now, you have to learn how to start planning, because there's only one thing that is really certain with Alzheimer's and dementia. It's going to get worse. You know, it's going to get worse. So you have to learn how to plan. So thank you for pointing that out, Lizette. So Lisa here said, mom has early onset Alzheimer's. She's 70, 10 years and counting. That's good. You know, 10 years and counting. So and I hope and wish Lisa that she is actually strong, you know, doing some exercises, both cognitively and physically. So that's really good. That's really good. Anything else that we can learn today, Miss Lizette?
Oh, I don't know. I know so much. It's so hard. You know, it's hard to know what to talk about when you don't know what people are needing.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing that's the hardest for me right now in seeing people with having trouble with their thinking is how many people are really struggling to take their medicine correctly. And that always scares me, because, you know, that can put them back in the hospital, or even worse, it could cause them to, you know, have irreparable harm, and cause them to end up actually dying from taking their medication incorrectly.
You know what? Let's go ahead and dive deep into that, you know, medication management, because obviously majority of our elderly, let's just say they have dementia or Alzheimer's, they forget to take their medication.
Right.
When they forget to take their medication, guess what? They get worse. Simple as their blood pressure medication. Imagine that. The blood pressure medication needs to be maintained. They need to be taking that every day. It's a maintenance drug. And guess what? If they forget it, their blood pressure shoots up. Guess what? What happens? They get CHF, congestive heart failure. They have hypertension. And if they forgot that they've taken it, and then they take it again,
yeah.
All right, they've taken it again. Guess what? Their blood pressure will go down. It's called hypotension, wherein their blood pressure goes down. Guess what? They're stand up. They're going to get dizzy. They're going to start falling and everything. So medication management is very, very important. You need to reach out to a nurse, to an occupational therapist, like Lizette, you know, a home health agency or whatever. You need to reach out to somebody to help you with proper medication management, medication reminders. I know there's a lot of resources out there. Just as a simple pill planner will actually help you organize. So can you tell us more about that, Lizette? You know, how you manage medication in a patient's house? You're an OT, you know all of that. I'm just a regular physical therapist. So can you tell us more about how you guys manage it?
Sure. There are a lot of different things that can be done. You know, a simple pill dispenser is only as good as a person actually remembering that they have or have not taken their medication. So at the beginning, it can be helpful because it can kind of cue you to take your medicine at the right time. But if you're truly having trouble remembering, then a simple pill dispenser is not an effective and safe way of managing your medication anymore. There are a lot of high-end and low-end alternatives that you can look at on Amazon. They make some automated medication dispensers that a family member can set up for you, that can be locked, that have some alarms that can remind you. There's some ones that are available for $70 to $80, all the way up to, you know, the Cadillac version, which is $900.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, and then some people do real well with what's called a pill pack. Have you heard of those, Mike?
Yeah, the pill pack, pill planners. Oh gosh, I think all pharmacies needs to do that.
Yeah, and that's when people work with the pharmacy, online pharmacy that's putting all their medication together, and they take it off literally one roll at a time. So morning would be a packet, take it off. Lunchtime would be a packet, take it off. So there are a lot of different ways of actually managing medication, and that's probably one of the things that I like to do the most is help people figure out how to safely and effectively take their medicine.
Perfect, perfect. Before I ride on to that topic you're talking about, I just want to give a shout out to Kathy Lynch, who is watching from Arkansas, and she said she's taking care of her mom with Alzheimer's and her husband with mild dementia. Oh gosh, I am so sorry about that. Taking care of an elderly patient is difficult. It's much harder to take care of a loved one's an actual spouse. So you just hang in there, Kathy. Just hang in there. Well, anyway, I don't know if you noticed what Lisette mentioned about the pill planner and pill packets, and pill boxes and everything like that. So every patient is different. Every stage is different. So every situation is different. The pill planner can work for somebody, but guess what? If they have a hard time popping that pill planner, I have a sweaty hand. I mean, I don't know if you see it, but I have a sweaty hand. I have a hard time opening up that pill planner, but I don't have a hard time opening up a bottle, twisting it and pushing it down. For a mild cognitive impairment patient, MCI, mild cognitive impairment patient, guess what? That's going to be easy for them. If the patient progresses, if your loved one starts progressing, their fine motor movement, their muscles in their hand, their what you call intrinsic muscles, their coordination in their eyes, their hands, and reflexes are going to start delaying. It'll be harder for them to open up those pill planners. So a pill packet is actually good. But here's the thing: as they get worse, as they progress, guess what? That pill planner is going to be confusing for them because they open up a pill planner or pill packet and it's like, oh gosh, it's just so long. I'm just going to take one or two again. So every patient is different. You need to reach out to your individual practitioner, and you need to really talk. Sit down with your physician, with your loved one's physician, and really talk. Hey, this is not working for mom. What else can we do? Because one current situation is applicable to one person. It could be applicable to one person, but it could be not applicable. And imagine, even every day is still different. So if you feel like every day is a new adventure, guess what? Comment every day is a new adventure. Anna here says, Anna Hanberg, my parents live alone at home. Mom has dementia. Father is her caretaker and is showing symptoms of MCI, but he's in denial. Oh, we're going to dig into that, Anna. Yeah. We're going to talk about that too. How can we help transition to having help at home? Any tips? Are you seeing those comment there, Lizette?
No, I don't see that. I'm not on Facebook. I'm just on Zoom.
Okay.
Right now.
Basically, she's asking.
Sometimes that's a really, really hard thing when somebody's in that denial phase. There really isn't anything you can do other than just support them. Probably one of the best things that she can do is try to get some independent testing of her dad to be able to, sit down with him and say, look, this is what the report says, or this is what the test says. Mild cognitive impairment can come up in a lot of different ways. It can be memory, it can be executive functioning, it can be a combination of the two. So it makes it very hard without testing somebody to know why are they struggling and what do we need to focus on to try and make it better for them. When you're in a mild cognitive impairment, brain exercises can make a lot of difference in your ability to keep doing things and being safe with doing things. So really, honestly, probably the best thing to start with is some good testing. And a occupational therapist or a neuropsychologist or somebody who actually tests people and knows how to tease those problems out would be a helpful place to start.
Perfect. Well, thank you for pointing it out. That's correct. And if you are still watching and listening, that is correct. You need to have the proper testing because just like this, just same thing with goal setting. You cannot go to your goal if you don't know where you're at and where you came from. So you don't know, it's going to be hard for you to be able to go to your goal or to your destination if you don't know where you're at, your current stage, and what the previous level of function. So in therapy, we always do that. So for example, we want to know what's their current function, what they were doing before, and what you want them to be. And then you mentioned about denial. That is a great question. Okay, thank you, Anna. You're still listening. So that is a great question. I don't know if you heard the word or the phrase. That stage is called Kubler-Ross stages of grief. The patient also goes with that stages. Okay, the first stage. Okay, the first stage is what you call the denial stage. They will deny that they can still do this and they can still do that and attempt to do what they used to do before, when in fact they can't do it anymore. They may be able to do it. They may be able to do it, but the question is, are they able to do it safely? So just like cooking, cleaning, changing their clothes, trying to take care of somebody else. That's the first stage, denial stage. They may be able to cook, but are they able to cook it in a safe way? And that's where the occupational therapist comes in, or the physical therapist, or your physician or social worker comes in. What's the next stage, Anna? You want to know what the next stage? If you want to know the next stage, comment next stage. Next stage is what you call the anger or humor stage. Anger or humor stage. Why? Because they cannot do what they used to do before. Or why anger? Because they can't express themselves anymore. Me being a foreigner, English is not my first language. When I got sick, I think I got the flu like November. Hopefully it wasn't COVID, right? I hope it was just a flu, right? So when I got sick, I didn't want to talk to my kids. They speak English. I just want to talk to my wife who speaks my native language. I get angry. What more for a patient who have dementia or Alzheimer's or MCI or mild cognitive impairment? They have a hard time explaining themselves. They have a hard time processing the information. So they just get angry, either angry or humorous. All right. So what's next stage? Next stage is what you call the bargaining stage. They will bargain with you, bargain with their spouse, bargain with priest or any higher being, even with their physician. They go to the doctor. They're all dressed up. They answer all the questions in a very smart way. But that they go home, bam, they're back in their old ways, right? What's the next stage after the bargaining? You go to the depression stage. They become depressed. They don't want to do anything. They just want to stay in the bed. And by the word itself, they just want to stay in, they're depressed. When your loved ones become or stay in that depression stage, I'm sorry, I'm taking your thunder there.
Oh, you're fine. You're good.
So when they're in that depression stage, you need to do three things. Three things, ladies and gentlemen, just like a stool, just like a chair. They will not stand up if they're not three. Take off one, it's going to fall. Three things when the patient is in depression stage. First is medication management.
Right.
You need to have a good medication management. That's why Lizette is trying to preach us medication management. Why? Because medication management is very important to take care of your loved ones. Why? Because when you have that proper medication, you're releasing certain hormones. You're releasing certain hormones. Your dopamine. Your dopamine is, I don't know if you remember it in the 60s or 70s, Lizette. When somebody is high, what do they say? Hey, man, I'm dope. Because you want to release that dopamine in your body, right? What's the next hormone that you want to release on that medication management? Oxytocin. Oxytocin is actually the love hormone. When you're hugging somebody, when you're embracing, when you're kissing your loved ones, guess what? That's the hormone that you release, oxytocin. When you're giving birth, that's the hormone that it releases, oxytocin. What's the next hormone that a medication can release? Serotonin. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
You did good.
Serotonin. Serotonin, I don't know if you noticed, serotonin sounds like the medication Seroquel, because serotonin is your happy hormone. It releases certain hormones. Remember, when you're depressed, you want to release happy hormones, right? And the last hormone that you want to release with that medication management is what you call the endorphins. Endorphins, what does it sound like? If you know medication, sounds like morphine, because endorphin is your natural painkiller. So when you have dementia or Alzheimer's, they're in pain. They're in pain, and you want to release that hormone, right? So first, medication management. Second, if you're still there, Anna, second is what you call coaching and counseling. You need to find a coach. You need to find a counselor that will help you, not just your loved ones, not just your dad and your mom, but also you, because this is not just a personal disease. It's a family dynamic disease. It's a family dynamic. They say 1 out of 3 family. Imagine that 1 out of 3 family will only survive this actual situation. The other 2, the family will just go down and crumble. So you need to have a coach and a counselor that will take care of you guys. Last but not the least, number 3 on that depression stage is what you call therapeutic activities. You need to move. You need to move. The body needs to move. Your loved ones needs to move. Your mom or your dad, they need to move. Why? Because motion
is lotion.
Is the lotion to your joint. Movement matters to your brain matter. Okay, movement matters to your brain matter. Your brain matter is your brain. You need to move. You need to pump that blood all throughout. Not force. You need to exercise to push that blood all the way to your brain to at least improve the circulation here, because there's what you call vascular dementia. Mm-hmm. What is vascular dementia? If you've heard that, type in vascular dementia. Vascular means blood supply. There's lack of blood supply here in your brain, and if you have lack of blood supply, guess what? You get dementia. There's a good question there from Anna. How do you find a coach? There's a lot of coaches here in this group. You can reach out to Lizette. Yeah. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to the rest of, even in your small little community, wherever you at, talk to your pastor, your preacher, go to your physician, your doctor, and talk to them. Maybe they could find somebody. I'm associated with the Alzheimer's Association, and there are a lot of resources in Alzheimer's Association. You can do that. Support groups, like this group here, but it's so big that we can't even support it anymore. So right now, that's what we're doing. I'm trying to pull different therapists, different people, so that way we can help support you. So Lizette, let me put the microphone back to you. What else can they do with regards to Anna's situation if you want her coach?
she can private message me, and I'd be happy to work with her answering some more specific questions.
There you go. See, Anna, actually Lizette is actually in this group too. She is she's probably be in this chat here too eventually. So private message her and talk to her, and obviously, don't. A lot of people will spam me with stuff, but I'm sure your situation is really, really needs help. So reach out to Lizette and just talk to her about the situation. So any other else? She said perfect, so that's good. Any other question for our group here before I turn off the microphone? But while we're waiting questions, Lizette, any last parting wisdom for our friends in our group?
Probably the thing that strikes me the most is, as people taking care of somebody who has a problem, we have a tendency, you were talking about the Kubler-Ross thing, people taking care of other people when they're having trouble tend to flip the pyramid too. We first have to make sure that the household functions, because if you can't get food on the table, if you can't do the laundry, if you cannot take care of the household, then it's hard to take care of somebody else. The second thing that they need to take care of is themselves. They need to absolutely take care of themselves. You cannot take care of somebody else unless you've taken care of yourself. And then the last part that gets taken care of is the person who needs help. If you flip that around and make them the most important thing to take care of, then pretty quickly the household doesn't run, you can't function, and everything falls apart. Try to build in respite care early on and make it a habit. Get somebody who can come help you, be it a church member, be it a paid caregiver, be it a volunteer, somebody that can come sit with the parent or the people who need help, and then try to make sure that you get time off, that you're off duty. You cannot be on duty 24 hours a day. So at the beginning, start to add those things, because at the beginning it's easy or easier and you think you can do it. But this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So we want to make sure that you build in time for yourself consistently throughout this process and not wait until you burn out.
Oh, wow. That is very, very powerful, ladies and gentlemen. I always preach this. You cannot give what you do not have.
Right.
You know, that's why it's called caregiver. You know, that's why it's called. They actually changed the term caregiver. They change it to care partner. But now, you know, it used to be called caregivers. You know, you're giving care. You're giving care. You cannot give what you do not have. Just like money. I cannot give money to my little daughters if I don't have money myself. I cannot give food to my family if I don't have food myself. Same thing with caregiving. You cannot give care to somebody else if you don't take care of yourself. Remember this, self-care is not selfish. If you, like what Lizette said, this is a long-term game. This is going to be what's called, it's an endurance game. It's not a one-time, big-time deal. It's going to be long-term, because Alzheimer's and dementia, it's like, just like some of our members said, it was like 10 years now. Yeah. Unlike cancer, they can diagnose you. Okay, you got 6 months. Tomorrow you're gonna pass. Cancer is like that. You know, you got a time frame. Alzheimer's, dementia, no. And it's gonna be a long-term game, and you need to take care of yourself, guys. You need to take care of yourself. Self-care is not selfish. Keely here, Jaquita is she's in Oxford, England. Hello. My grandfather had severe vascular dementia. He got taken to hospital in January because he bit his hand so badly it went to the bone. Oh gosh, he's healed well, but I would like to know if you've ever heard of people doing this to themselves. And I wonder why or how he would hurt himself so badly and not even know he was doing it. I really would be interested to know if there's anything I can do to stop it. Do you want me to answer that, Lizette, or do you want to read that?
Have you ever heard of anybody doing that, Mike?
Actually, here's the thing, Keely. I'm pronouncing your name right, Keely. But when a patient goes to that certain stage, okay, there are different stages, different therapists, different physicians, different practitioners. We stage them differently. Okay, there's what you call the 7 stages of dementia. We want to do it 3 stages: mild, moderate, severe. If a patient goes to that severe stage, they lose all their, not really all their function. They lose all their basic sensation, basic senses. They lose their hearing, obviously, seeing. They lose their sensation. Remember, their sensation is actually transmitted from the brain to the spinal cord, to the nerve, and then to the muscle. Now, you will see this with some severe dementia patients. They will try to play with their poop because they want to feel that sensation there. So most of the time when you have a severe dementia or late stages, they're actually, you know, trying to eat with their hands because, like what Brianna said, they're seeking sensory input. Okay, that's an OT thing. Brianna's actually an OT thing. So the patient or the loved one is trying to look for that sensory. They're trying to look for that feeling. Why am I not feeling this? Why am I not feeling this? Why am I not experience? Why is this? And part of it too, anxiety. You know, I mean, you've got this late stage dementia, and they don't know what's going on, and they might be trying to feel it. So that's basically what we're thinking here. It's just, you know, what you call this, a shot there. How about you, Lizette? Any wild? We're not diagnosing. We're just making a wild, educated guess on what's going on.
So my question would be: is he very bored? Is he understimulated or overstimulated?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. Did you hear that, Keely? Is your loved ones? Is your is it your grandfather? Is it your grandfather overstimulated or understimulated? That's a great question too. That's a great question too. And obviously, how you prevent it when when we go to psych hospital or nursing homes or any facility, we give them some mittens just for safety purposes. Do you do that too in your practice, Lisette?
Sometimes you can also
Mm-hmm.
try to give him something to do with his hands.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So,
but definitely gloves. If he's biting himself, I would say put gloves on him.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So I like what Brianna mentioned here. She's actually an OT. Brianna is also an OT. She said here he might be seeking sensory input, which is right. Oral seeking due to changes in senses. He may not have been able to perceive the pain from biting, but was able to satisfy what he was seeking orally. That is such a great input there. Hello, Dorothy, watching from Rhode Island. There you go. Keela is actually has replied. Let me just try to read this if I can read it. You know us old people. Yes, you're pronouncing my name right. There you go, Keely. At the moment, we have to have double padded gloves on him to stop him getting to his hand. Yep, that's good. And we have to tuck them in with a blanket so anything near him goes in his mouth. He's never bored. He rests a lot, but we do puzzles, play music. But when he gets tired, but when he gets tired, I always leave him to rest. There you go. There
If
you
they
go.
try to sucker,
Oh God, that is a great idea there. A sucker. Mm-hmm.
as long as it's not, small and he can choke on it.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe give him something, a popsicle. See if doing something with his mouth will help.
There you go. There you go. I remember we had this question too in one of our, we do that seminar called Alzheimer's Disease and Dementia Care Seminar. And we had this one question too, and they recommended the Hershey's chocolate bar, without the peanuts. Okay. So they're just the Hershey's and, to provide stimulus in their mouth. So the speech therapist recommended that. All right.
A lot of times their taste changes. They can only taste sweet things.
Mm-hmm. Keely said, great idea. Tried it all though. Yeah. That's the only thing that you can actually do. It's the reality is you can only try and try and try until you succeed. And there will come a time that you're going to try this. Tomorrow it's going to work. Today it's not. So all you need to do is just keep trying it until you find it. Every day is different. Even every hour is different. When I was taking care of my grandma, oh gosh, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. So it's crazy. All right, Lisette, any last parting words for us? Any wisdom for us? I know you already mentioned it earlier, but I'm learning from you. So.
Oh, wonderful. No, I'd love for people to reach out, and I'd love to help any way I possibly can.
Excellent. So where can we find you? Do you have a website or an email?
I'm in the process of getting my website up, but it's not up and running. But I do have an email address. It's innovativetherapyservices2020@gmail.com.
Awesome. We're going to put that email here. Hopefully you don't spam her, but what is it again? Do you mind posting it later in the thread?
Sure. It's innovativetherapyservices2020@gmail.com.
Awesome.
And then the website will be innovativetherapyservices.com.
Excellent. Again, thank you very much, Lisette. I appreciate you for coming over. And we are going to try to do this every Tuesday. I think the next person we're going to interview is actually Brianna next week, but we are going to do this every Tuesday. So if you've got any questions, ladies and gentlemen, put it up in the group, and that way we can address it and help you out. We may not be able to really reverse the dementia, but at least we can actually take care of you as a caregiver and just bring out the best in you. But before I let you go, I'm going to share my screen.
And a shout out to all the OTs.
There you go. Shout out to all the OTs. But before I let you go, ladies and gentlemen, always remember the word FAST. FAST. Letter F. Find friends that will push you to your next level. Find friends that will actually going to believe in you and support you because you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with. Because you are actually, if you want to hang out, if you want to be awesome caregiver, guess what? Hang out with awesome caregivers. If you hang out with caregivers who are actually really down, guess what? You're going to be really down. There's no There's no place for caregivers, care partners to be down because you're actually taking care of a different, very, very difficult condition. All right. So next letter A, you got to learn how to take action. All these videos that we're doing is not going to do me good. It's not going to do you good if you don't take action on it. Reach out to Lizette, email her, talk to her, and that way you can learn from her. All right. Letter S, shoot for the moon, because if you keep shooting for the moon, eventually you're going to be landing with the stars. Guess what? I'm landing up with the Lizette. She's a star, right? And last but not least, letter T, teach it. Why? Because when you hear it, you forget. When you see it, you remember. But when you're actually teaching it, you're going to understand it more. And same thing when taking care of your loved ones. Teach other people about them. Learn from them. This situation that you're going through right now, this test that you're going through is actually testimony for other people. This struggle will be your strengths in the future. All right. I wish you all the best. Thank you again, Lisette, for coming over. Appreciate you. And I will gonna play our outro song.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Lisette.